create form today. So let's look at, we have the database, which is the patient's medications. So this is like to prescribe the medications to the patients. Let's think about the form. So we want to learn how to create a simple form first. When you go to create, we have form where we can do just the using the wizard, or we can just use the regular form. Let's look at, there are many ways to create a form. Like for example, if I want to be able to add the new patients, right? I can just click on the form, and this is going to create a form for you to enter the data, and all the data pretty much just going to be matching to your table. Right, so our patients table, we have first name, last name, and gender. Okay, so that's the basic form. But now let's look at if I want to create a form using the wizard. So we have form wizard. So click on that. Now, think about if I want to create just a patient form, I'm going to have the same thing. But sometimes you want to create a form that you want to enter the data like patient's first name, last name, gender, and phone number. That's going to be in one form, but it's going to record into two different tables, right? Go to patients and phone or contact. So let's review our table again. So we have contact and we have phone. I see. So our patients has can have many emails, right? But one email belongs to one patient. So let's create a form for that first. So we're going to create a form that you can record data to patient table and contact table using form wizard. So we're going to pick patient, and of course you can select the fields that you want to show on the form. Like patient ID is order number, so we don't really need to include that. And then we also want to be able to record to the contact, which is email. Okay, click next. Now the wizard is going to prompt you with how do you want to view your data. You can make it as a subform. Subform is not going to look like the one that we've seen before. You have a linked form, like you can click and link to the next form. So for now I'm going to use a subform. Okay, so now you have an option to what layout would you like for your subform. You can make it as a tabular or the data sheet. Okay, so let me check the tabular to see what we get here. And you can always be able to name your form. So I'm going to name patient and email form. So that's how it's going to look like. So you can always enter the new patients by going to the yellow arrows, yellow stars at the end here. So that's when you add a new record, and then you can put a new patient name. You can use data sheet too. Doesn't matter. You can try to do that. Like now, I actually use the tabular. Tabular is gonna look like this. You can try to pick data sheet, then you see what's the different too. I'm gonna have first name and last name for Superman. What's Superman first name? Anybody know? How do you spell that? Clark. Last name? Clark Kent. Alright, so anyone know his email? Superman@gmail.com. Right. And Superman also has many emails, correct? Because he may have personal email which is Clark Kent, ckent@gmail.com. See, so Superman can be also a patient too. He may be sick and wants some medication. So when he come, we just train your user, the one who has the front desk or the one who registered for the patients, to use this form, right? You can fill in the information, and also you can always add more emails. So let's test Clark. Okay. Alright, so now I'm done with this record. What I need to do is I'm going to click on the end, or you can add a new one to make sure it's being recorded to the table. What we're going to do is I'm going to close out the tables, save the form. We're going to double check that our form actually works by opening up the patient table, so we get Clark Kent mail. And we want to make sure it's also recorded to the contact table. Yes, it's go to all the emails go to that table with the same patient ID who has more than one email. So this is also called one-to-many relationship that we discussed. Alright, so we're going to use another option, which is create form design. So form design, pretty much just you're going to do it from scratch. You just have an empty form. So this is like the design view. So I'm going to leave my ribbons open. Then we see the options here. This is form view. It's going to be empty white. You switch to design, right? So you have the property sheet here to control your form. That's the name. Like if you go to the format, we talk about format. Like if you're dealing with the width, height of the form, let's say its width is enlarging. See that? You can control the size of your form from here. Right, so same you can do with the other one too, like the one that we did before. You just need to switch to the design view, and then you see the standard give you 8 inches. Okay, like this one you can do everything from scratch too. Like you can go to all pretty much just get all the properties into one. Okay, you can look at, you want it to be auto-center every time the form is shown. Yes. Auto resides. Yes. You can also change the color. Okay, so let's looking for that. This is dealing with the data event. So now it's going to get like more complicated. Okay, we don't want to get into that point yet. This is just basic introduction to form. because you can actually write a code to handle the form. Okay, like to do event on click, on load, or something. And I'm looking for something like maybe the name of the form. So I have to switch to the form caption. Let's see what we get. So we're gonna say patient. Now we're gonna switch to, there you go, I just changed the caption to patient. See that? So you can change the captions right there, but on the form itself you guys still see form 1, but we just make the caption. Alright, so now let's see how we're going to introduce the fields into the form. We can add existing fields, right? We can do tab for the order. Okay, like when you hit tab, it's going to change the order. So let's say I'm going to do adding patient name. Just show you another way to do, right? Like you can always change the label. Like by default, it's going to pick the label from the field's name that you have when you create a table. So we might want to just make sure the label is going to look like more professional, or people pretty much understand when they read this. Okay, and of course you can always do change the font size type. Okay, like that. I make it just a little bit bigger, so that's good for the user eyes. Like that. So now we may want to add something else. Let's say we want to do last name, and we want to do gender. Same, we can just always re-label this to patient's last name. Caps gender. And you can always like recognize it by yourself here from the design view here. And this is pretty much just linking to your table when you enter the information. Now, same thing, if you switch back to property sheet, you can always change the size, right, to make it bigger. Good for the user eyes. Now, gender, same. Alright, so this is just try to show you some basic. You can create your own form. Let's test this. Switching back. So that's how it's gonna look. And I can always record a new one. Alright, so this time we're gonna do Batman. So what's his first name? Yes, Amna. That's not Batman. That's you, right? Okay. Last name? Okay. And now we have female, right? So let's see. We just create our own form this time, right? So of course you want to refresh this if you have left your table open. So it works, right? So our form is working for that. But again, like I said, our requirements is what? You should have a form that be able to record to multiple tables. This is only one, right? There's no reason to create one form for each table, right? So we're gonna take a look at how to do that, okay? After this, so this is